So just got back. I tried filling up with water. There is a little hole. Can't remember find it where though. It's on one of these marked spots. I can't find it or remember where it was. So I'll just have to wing it and make the cement, pour it in, hope for the best. But I'm probably, because when I added this to water or added it into this, it didn't feel that heavy. Like it didn't feel like a change. So I am gonna cut out a little more, probably make it a little bit lower down here and go up a little bit higher, and then I'll probably just do the same thing to this one as well and just go with it. So I accidentally leaned this too far down. There's still some water trapped in these holes. That probably wasn't the best idea. You can hear it in there, but it's not coming out. But it's not. Trying to see if I can find it. Which one has the water in it? I have a feeling it's probably one of the ones in here. Alright. So because I didn't know I did that. I leaned this too far down, so it melted the edge right there. Doesn't show that much, but you can kind of see it a little bit on the outer side of it. So I'm just gonna grab the filament. I'll just take that much, cut that off, and I'm just gonna kind of seal it. Alright, just like that. Sealed it up right there. Water's still dripping out everywhere. It's all over the table now. Alright, now I'm just gonna cut down here as well. I'll probably just stop it like right around there as well. Alright, so there we go. Sorry, drip water now. There we go. There we go. The water, most of the water came out. Now that's all done. And now I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. And hope for the best. Yeah, I know I'm not doing straight lines at all. It's a good thing no one's going to be seeing the inside of the hammer. Alright, so there's the outline, kind of sort of. Alright, hey guys. So it's a different day, just got out of work, and while I was at work I was thinking about how I can put the cement inside this. I did try this morning, off camera. I wanted to see what it worked. I had this little plastic syringe thing, and I had no use for it, so I wanted to try it. So I mixed up a little bit of that cement inside of a small little bowl, and I put it in that syringe, trying to use that to see if I could fill it in. I tried it here, but I couldn't get it all to go into the holes because there was no air, so it would just fill up. Once I put it in, it'd fill up and it would just pop out the top, even though it didn't go all the way down. And then I tried using a skewer, like one of these little small wooden sticks, and I tried going like this. It was going down, but that would take forever because I would have to go to every single hole, pump some in, do it, pump some in, do it, pump some in. So I didn't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to try and melt all of these all the infill right here, just in this designated area. Same with this one. For this one, I'm gonna melt through these as well and put the cement in, so I just pour it in and it'll fill it itself up by itself. And another thing I was thinking about is, because the handle looks like this, it's just a stick. If I put this in like this, the only thing holding it to the hammer head would be this clip when I melt it together and everything. Maybe a little bit of Gorilla Glue if I put it on the stick. But there is a little bit of a space where it's not touching back here. So I was thinking I'm going to use a drill a hole through this and put a little peg straight through it like this. Melt a hole right here and put that peg in that hole, and then same on this one, and put glue on both sides. So now it won't be able to go out like this. I would have to separate this piece, lift this out, then I can take the handle out. But so that this way has a little more strength to it, so it holds the whole entire thing together. So this wood burner is warming up right now. I don't know if it's to temp yet, but I'm literally just going to melt a bunch of these not channels, but the infill chamber things. And we'll see how it goes. Wonder if there's an easier way. If you guys know of an easier way on how to get rid of all the infill quicker and easier, if you guys can leave that in comments. So if I do a future project that I need to get rid of these, because that's going to take forever. wonder if I use my soldering iron because it gets hotter, a lot hotter. Just got my soldering iron to see if that works because this one goes up to 450, so it might be a little bit easier because it's gonna get hotter than the wood burner. Sorry if you guys hear any noise in the background. I'll try to edit it out. It's just the fan in the background so I can blow the smoke and fumes out and outside. Alright, well this is warming up. I'm just going to put it down. I actually did lose my stand for my soldering iron. It was just a small plastic, not plastic, metal. It looked like a U like this, and it would rest on top just like that. I don't know where I put it. I have one for my wood burner, but I can't remember where I put the one for the actual soldering iron. So while that is heating up, I'm going to go back to the wood burner until that's ready and just try to get as much as I can done. Just trying to get rid of all the extra pieces that are inside there, just so it just doesn't keep getting melted and moved all around. Alright, hey, what's up guys? So there has been a couple updates. I haven't been able to work on any of my recordings because my computer has been having some problems. Right now it is getting fixed, so I can't really view what I've already said, what I haven't said, because this is multiple days that I've been recording this project. So I don't know how it's gonna look, or if I'm gonna sound like a broken record, just keep talking and talking about the same stuff. I'll try to keep it simple and new, but I don't know if I showed it in the last video that I recorded, but I have been working on it a little bit. I tried putting cement in here with a little syringe, couldn't get it in unless I used a skewer and went like this to every single hole, which that would take forever, just going like that, put some in. I even tried pouring some on it and going like this and banging the table a little bit, trying to get it to seep into it. Couldn't get that to work. So what I ended up doing was using my wood burner, and I melted out this whole canyon type thing. I do have to go over it with sandpaper and flatten this all out because it's like sticking up a little bit. Alright guys, just take a real quick pause from the video. I am going to be talking about using a drill and a screw gun, and I drilled holes into the hammer, but I decided I don't want to keep it that way, so I changed it later on in the video. I used my wood burner and I melted it like I did to the other half of the hammer. The reasoning is because, and I wouldn't suggest you to drill it, I would suggest either one, making the 3D channel or canyon horseshoe type thing in the hammer and then print it as is, because when I drilled it, I got a lot of little itty bitty pieces of not like shavings of the plastic inside the hammer, and I couldn't get it out. Like, it was at the very bottom, and I could shake the hammer and I could hear all the little pieces moving all around, making random noises in the hammer. So it's like if you had a little bit like crumbs left in a bag and you shake the bag, that's what it sounded like. Going like this and banging the table a little bit, trying to get it to seep into it. Couldn't get that to work. So what I ended up doing was use my wood burner, and I melted out this whole canyon type thing. I do have to go over it with sandpaper and flatten this all out because it's like sticking up a little bit, and I do need to do the same thing to this one. I did do it some differently. I used a little drill and I drilled some holes into it so it already has it deep enough. So now I can just touch up and just connect where the two holes are, just connect the sides where it meets in the middle, and then it'll be ready, and then I can start pouring the cement into both of these. Another thing I did, because I was thinking about it, this is the handle. If the hammer is on this, so say the hammer is on this, there's nothing stopping it from just going straight out like that, except if I glue it or cement it in there, but I'll try. No promises if it's gonna work. So what I did was I drilled a hole straight through the handle and straight through right there, and I have a little dowel which fits in right between or right through it, like so. So now one piece sticks into, I just gotta make sure it's the right side, and And the drill bit that I used, I forget what size it was, but it's perfect size. It fits this dowel exactly. It's just an extra dowel that I had laying around. So now that hole fits perfectly in there. So now that piece stays up on its own. So then I did the same thing to the other piece, right in there. So now this piece is gonna go slide right on top, and there we go. Now it slid right on top. So now it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. But what I am gonna do, I still need to sand all the middle pieces to get rid of all the pieces that stick up, so it's flat, so there's not that much of a gap in between. There's nothing bad there, but like on the other side you can see it. So I can fix that. And what I'm thinking about doing is, because this goes out like that, I think it might have a little bit of play to it where it connects right here. Because this piece isn't like going in, it's just a flat oval. So I might sand this down a little bit so it's just basically just a cylinder type oval. So this might be able to sit more flush to the other piece. I did just get back from the store. I bought a new sander because I was using my Dremel right here. I was using my Dremel and it was taking a while, and that I was using my Dremel for a different project. But I'm not going to talk about that project now. It's going to be one of my next videos. But I'm going to use this sander for that project, and I can use it for this just to get all this flat and try to get it to seal itself, not so it doesn't have a hole. But even if there is a hole, I do have extra filament down there where I can just put a piece on and just go straight like through there, chop it off, and then I can put the hammer piece on it and then just melt it together and blend it all in. So that's what my plan is for today. So what I'm gonna do right now is use my soldering iron, my wood burner, and melt the holes for this. Also, I do have the windows open, so there's ventilation going outside, so not to be breathing all this in because it is bad for you. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna be doing today, for right now at least. Sorry if there's any noise in the background as well. I am looking into this fan ventilation type thing. It's meant for like soldering. It's to get the fumes when you're soldering out. It just like, it's like a vacuum, and it'll take all of the fumes and it'll store it inside like with a filter and everything. It's like a purifier, but it's meant for like the fumes of like soldering or making anything that has like a strong smell that you can't really breathe in a lot because you can get sick or basically get sick from it. I was gonna look into it. I saw a video of it. I can't remember what it's called. It's literally just a brick basically where you can attach a hose to, so let's say I have the hose right here and it'll be over there and it'll work. Or I could have it at the window and have the hose going to that. Or I can just put that brick right here and I can be doing it. It'll take the fumes into the brick itself. Or like fan type thing. And I do not know how much this hammer is gonna be able to weigh. It's more of like a guesstimation type thing now, because I have 10 pounds. I don't think I'm gonna use all 10 pounds, but I don't know how much is gonna be able to fit inside this, in this hole, and same with this one. So, alright, what's up guys? So I just was using the sander, and I used it a lot. And I just sanded out all of this and this one, so now it sits just about flush. There's a tiny bit of play. There's gonna be space because they're not one whole piece, so that I can deal with. And while I was doing that, I also noticed this piece, like the mount where I did for here and that one, wasn't perfectly straight down. So what I did was I mounted these all back together as one whole piece, and I took this top piece, because this top piece isn't glued on. This piece can slide. I took this piece off, I put it on here, and I taped this all together so it was holding it still, so it was basically flush on every side. I used my wood burner and I used that flat circle. It's hot right now, so that circle one right there. I used that and I just went straight down the hole and I took it out a couple times. I took that piece off because it stopped it from reaching because that's how deep as it can go. Took that piece off and then I went down it again. So now it fits perfectly. So now this just about should be flush. I haven't put the hammer actually together entirely. I just tried it out, or just sanded all this part to try to get flat as possible. But I'm going to put actually the whole thing together. If I can get which side is which. I'll go to this side. So, because this circle isn't perfectly in the middle, I marked, there's a little bit of a mark right there, and same right there, on which side goes where. So I know this side fits in this side. Let's do this one first. Alright, so left off in the last video I was using my sander. Alright, so I've been thinking about how I could try to fix this because the handle isn't perfectly straight going in, so that's why this doesn't line up perfectly. It'll either be a little bit too short this way or whatever, so it's not perfectly lined up like line to line. So what I'm thinking about doing is just taking the dowel, I already cut it in half, and gluing half of it into this, so it's like this. So it just sticks in like that. So then the handle will go into it and mount however way it will to hold it like that. So if you look at it, it's halfway through that dowel right there, but it still fits. And then this one will be glued to this one, and it'll fit to whichever direction it wants to fit inside this hole as well. So I'm gonna set up my hot glue gun and I'm gonna glue those dowels in to see if it'll work that way. While the hot glue gun is gonna be heating up, I'm going to start making a mixture for cement so I can start pouring it inside. So because I accidentally melted this one a little bit too deep, I'm going to use the hot glue stick. It does fit in there perfectly, but I'm going to melt it a little bit to put it into there so then I can be able just to push this and have it sticking up a little bit. And don't do this, because if you do it with a lighter how I'm doing it, this hot glue gun gets really hot. It gets a lot hotter than what it does when it's with that. There we go. So what I did is I just melted it so it's squishy on the sides so I can push that in. So I pushed it to a depth where this can just sit right on top so it doesn't go all the way down into it. Now I'm just gonna let that dry. So it does work, but it does stick out a little too much. So I am gonna melt that hot glue stick a little bit more, just so I can be able to push that stick down a little bit more. There you go. There we go. Sorry if you hear any noise in the background, it's just people walking by. Alright, let's try this one more time. I think I might do the same thing to what I just did with that hole, this one as well, just so it sticks in a little bit more. For the most part, it does line up still. It just doesn't go all the way down into the hole. Oh, there we go. It still does it. Right, so there is going to be a little bit of a crack, but I can just fill that in like earlier what I said. Grab the filament, put it in here and melt it over and smooth it and sand it and all that stuff. I don't know if I went over in the last video, but I did go to this store. I believe it was a dollar store, and I just bought this little needle thing. It helped out a lot when I was having to pick through all these little spots to get all the supports and stuff out of. But that's where I got that from. Now I'm going to take it all apart again. And I'm going to start mixing cement. I have to make, I don't know how much I'm going to make. I'm just going to make a little bit at a time, but I think it's 3 to 1. Mix cement using a 3 to 1 ratio by volume. Mix together slowly until and thoroughly. The initial dry time is 30 minutes to 1 hour. Allow 24 to 48 hours to completely dry. Once project is completely dry, you may use sealer or paint. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I just made a good amount of it. But I did, it's supposed to be a 3 to 1, so I did 3 of the cement and I did 1 water, mixed it around, but it was too thick where I think it really wouldn't set down into this. So I added a tiny bit more water, so it's a little bit more on the watery side, but it still had the thick consistency. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start pouring it in, and then I'll tap this on the ground, not on the table so it's not that loud, to see if it was set any further in, and then I'll make more for the other hand if I need to. But all I'm gonna do is just put it in, just let it drip down the side. And I can also push it down there if I need to. Sorry for the beeping or noise in the background if you guys can hear that. There's a little bit of construction outside. But I'm just going to continue. If it is loud when I'm editing the video, I'll try to see if I can edit the audio to see if I can reduce the noise in the background. But I don't know if I'm 100% going to be able to do that. Alright, so it looks like everywhere it has a bunch of the cement in it now. Except for right here, it's not that much. And I am pushing it down with the spoon a little bit, but I'm just gonna top it off a little bit more. So it's just about flush to the top. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make more for the other side of the hammer. Now I'm just gonna set that down, and I'm gonna use the floor behind me and go like this just to see if it can sink down anymore, just so it's not so loud on the table. Yeah, I am gonna have to go make some more cement. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. There's a little bit of still water in here, so I'm just gonna mix it a little bit more on camera. And then I'll start pouring it in. And yes, I am using a baby spoon. I think she grew out of it. And I don't think anyone's gonna use it, so. Hey, but I could be wrong. Someone does come looking for it. You guys got my back. I never saw it. I haven't seen it since last time she was over. So now I overfilled it again. I'm just gonna push it down with the spoon. A bit more. And see how it is overflowing a little bit? But once I start hitting it, it'll start seeping down and getting all those air bubbles out. Yeah, if you guys look, you can already see right there, two right there, and then some right there of the cement actually seeping down into the hammer. So I think I'm gonna take a break from this one, start filling this one up so I can feel the weight of both of them together. Even though it is gonna weigh a little bit more than what it is now, because when cement dries, it gets a little bit heavier. But I'm just gonna start filling this hammer in now. I did hope it would seep down to the bottom, because you can see the holes, infill on the bottom. I did hope it did that, because if you listen to it, when I used a drill to try drilling these holes first, because I wanted to see if it would make it easier, because drill the holes, then I can just use my burner and just melt the parts that are connected. But it made there's little scraps in here, and I don't want to hear that when I'm like moving the hammer around, because it did it for both of them, but they were pretty loud. This one was quieter than that one, so hopefully it doesn't have it. But now I'm just gonna start filling this one up. I think I could have made this one a little bit waterier. If you guys have any questions or concerns or tips and tricks on how I could improve or do something a little bit better or different, you guys could leave that down in the comments. I will go through the comments after I post the video, and I will respond to everyone's comments, and I will also switch and do that, or do if anyone makes any. Okay, let's grab some newspaper, just so the cement doesn't drip down onto the table like it just did. If you guys have any like suggestions on what I should do differently, or on what my next project should be, actually. Sorry again for the noise in the background. I do hear the construction vehicles beeping in the back. Just gonna add a tiny bit more water, just so it's a little bit more watery. The only reason why I'm trying to make this one a little bit more watery is because this hole, or the part where I'm filling in this one, is a little bit thinner than that one. So that one is thicker and wider than this one. So this one's going to be a little bit difficult. Well, it's not difficult, but a little bit harder to get it to fill in perfectly. But I do gotta go to work after I'm done working on this for a little bit longer, and then I will see if I can work on it a bit more when I get home from work, and if not, then I'll do it probably tomorrow, but you guys won't even notice the day change. Alright, so that one, it is a little bit messy, but this one is starting to fill in a little bit more as well. Right there, and there, and there. This one is still a little bit more heavier. So I'm gonna fill this one up again. I'm making one more batch probably, I'd say. And then probably have to end the video and get ready for work. I'm just trying to scrape off the extra cement that's in the middle, just so it doesn't try to dry. It'll probably be a little bit easier once it dries a little bit, so it can just wipe off easily. Just gonna use a stick to. I don't, but my father actually has a scale, like a small little scale, so I'm gonna use that to weigh how much this hammer weighs. Then I can go over and weigh how much this one weighs, so then I can try to even out the weight, just so the hammer, like if I say I have the hammer, say this is the hammer, I'm holding it like this, it's not heavier leaning this way than it is leaning that way, so it's equal weight. But I'm just going to use the rest of the cement that's in this bowl for both of them, or until I think they weigh the same by weighing them with my hands. But after that, I'm going to yeah, the reason why I'm hitting it is because it gets all the air bubbles that are in it out, and it also makes it so it can be able to sink down towards the bottom of the hammer. So if you can see, it's already sinking down right there. I don't know if I hit it from the side, I'll do the same. Or maybe it's full. Oh yeah, it's definitely getting down to the bottom. I just don't want to hit it too hard because I don't want to possibly break or dent or crack the bottom of the hammer. Alrighty, now I'm just gonna scrape all this back inside. Like I said, once it dries, it'll be a little bit easier to get all this stuff that's all around the top of this. Mainly because once it dries, it'll turn kind of like not frail, but until it fully sets, it'll be a little bit easier to break it or sand it off if I need to. Alright, I'm just gonna use the rest of the whatever's left in here just to fill this one up. And then I'm gonna head out. Make sure you're not hitting your fingers. If you're using something to hit it, like how I am, it hurts. I think they weigh almost the same. I am just gonna hit the table. I'll end the recording, but I'm just gonna do off camera. I'm gonna hit the table a couple times just so I can get as much as I can to sink down the bottom before I leave. Just so if I do need to add a little bit more weight to this side or that side, there'll be a little bit more space to it. So.